Wish TV is focused on family and the community and is committed to sharing the stories of those who are making a difference every day. From the All Indiana Podcast Network and Wish TV, this is Behind the Eight Podcast with Wish TV's George Mallet.
George Mallet here with my Behind the Eight Podcast. Today I'm going to be speaking with Cody Adams about his outstanding series of reports on the courageous cancer fighters at Riley Hospital for Children and his own daughter's battle with cancer. In a moment, Cody Adams.
Your day moves fast. Your news should too. That's why there's a new and improved Wish TV app, bringing you more local news, breaking alerts, live streaming, weather forecast, radar, and Indiana sports, all in one place. Customize your news feed to see the stories that matter most to you and get the information you need when you need it. Download the new and improved Wish TV app today on iOS or Android and take News 8 with you everywhere.
And I'm joined now by Cody Adams. And Cody, let's start at the beginning. You're working in Terre Haute as a reporter. Your new baby daughter, Maddy, is diagnosed with cancer. And that's where the story that you told on television really begins.
Yeah, it was an interesting moment because just like anybody, and you know this, having kids, you don't know what you're doing. There are books, but none that really give you an insight until you are a parent. And so we were still learning, really, my wife and I, how to even have a child. And so we had noticed early on she was kind of gassy, or at least it seemed like. She was really irritable a lot, but otherwise a really good baby. And so it was her 3 or 4 month checkup. And my wife, God bless her, I mean, she just, like a lot of moms, was very intuitive on a lot of things. And she noticed that she just had Maddy, our oldest, had a very hard stomach. And so we took her to the pediatrician for a normal checkup and said, hey, this just seems odd. Take a look. And, of course, the pediatrician is feeling around. And I'll never forget the look on the pediatrician's face where he obviously knew something was wrong but didn't want to alarm us because they want to do tests and all that. Mm-hmm. And he said, look, we're going to have some blood work done. It feels like there's maybe some sort of mass or something in her abdomen. It could be, anything, but we want to get checked out. And so we took her for blood work, and, just like any place, you get the blood drawn. She's a baby. She's screaming. We go home, and they go, hey, we'll call you if something happens or whatever we need to do. So we're sitting at home watching Seinfeld, old Seinfeld reruns, and we get a phone call. It's about 9 p.m. And who calls at 9 p.m. anymore,
Right, yeah.
And so we answer the phone, and it's the doctor, and he's like, hey, look, not a lot of time to really discuss, but you need to pack a bag and take off to Indianapolis, to Peyton Manning's Children's Hospital, actually, first, is where we went the very first moment. And so we show up like, what is going on? And they bring in a doctor, and we actually called my father-in-law because my parents were both deceased, and we just didn't have a lot of family around. And so we said, hey, will you just come with us because, we don't know what's going on. And so we're sitting there, and the doctor walks in and goes, hey, look, her blood work came back. White blood count's pretty high. We believe it's leukemia. And in that moment, as you can imagine, you just gut-wrenched. But here's the best part about all of that, and I smile. You can't tell on a podcast, but I smile because this is hilarious to me. The moment the doctor said she has leukemia, my 4-month-old daughter laughed hysterically.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, just absolutely. I'd never heard her laugh that way in 4 months. Just cackled. Almost, and I don't know what caught her eye or what it was, but in that moment, it was almost a reassuring thing in a time of fright. And so we actually spent that was around Thanksgiving. We spent the whole week of Thanksgiving at Peyton Manning's. Found out that she had a rare form of leukemia called JMML. And there's a long name for it. I don't know it very well, so we'll just stay with JMML. But it requires a bone marrow transplant, and they don't do those at Peyton Manning's. So we got transferred to Riley from there.
And your experience at Riley was just unfailingly positive.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. In a joking way, it's like a Disney World for sick kids. I mean, it really is. It's a magical place because those doctors genuinely, truthfully care. And that's not to say that other places don't, but you don't feel like you're a patient in a room. You know, that it feels like they're genuinely there because they want to cure your child and send you home. And you're there every day for hours. I mean, my wife lived there. I was driving back and forth from work, from Terre Haute, every night, and they become your family because you see those people every single day. You're eating dinner with those people. Those nurses are there overnight with you when you can't sleep. All of those things.
Yeah. So, like all of us in television, you're a vagabond. You're an Indiana guy, but at some point you left Terre Haute. You went to Texas. Now you're back in Indianapolis at Wish. Tell me about the genesis of this series. And again, I'd encourage listeners it's posted online at Wish TV. Check out this series because it's fascinating and it's touching. But how did the series get launched?
So we do these stories called inside stories in the newsroom, and the cool thing about this, and this is what's great about Wish. We are given the platform to do things we care about because we're trying to inform people, and so. We got to talking, and they're like, "Hey, what do you want to do? It's something that you want to tell people about?" And my first thought was, we have one of the best hospitals, children's hospitals in the entire world in our backyard, and I know these people pretty well, and I think I can peel back some curtains and give them an inside look at what these families who are battling cancer, these children who are fighting for their lives, are going through every single day, and what these doctors are doing to help them. And so I just reached out, and they were more than generous and more than excited to share these stories. And that was a lot of fun, too, to get to talk to them and have that full circle moment of these people saved my daughter's life. They've become lifelong friends, and now I'm working in my home, and I get to talk about it to people again, which is cool.
And you also got really good access, not just to the doctors and the clinicians at Riley, but also to other parents, other patients. Did the fact that you could say, "Hey, I'm a dad, Maddy went through this," how helpful was that in getting that access for you?
Oh, it was huge. Simply because it's hard. Sometimes people don't understand this, but a lot of people don't want to talk on camera. They don't want to share their story because it's a very personal thing. But I think being able to say, "Hey, look, I've been there, I've done that, I'm sharing my side of this as well. I just need someone else to share their story," because I didn't want this to be self-serving. That was the biggest thing. I did not want this story to be, look at us, look at me. I genuinely wanted to just give an inside look at how these things work. And so Kendall Wynn, a great kid, I mean, going to graduate high school and all that, battled cancer twice now.
Right.
She and her mom, Tracy, were willing to share their story. And I'm so glad they did because I think it brought the whole 5-part series together, having them share their part of the story as well.
Yeah, it really struck me the recurrence of cancer for her and how devastating that must have been for her mother in particular, because she had a great memory of everything that had preceded that moment.
Yeah, and here's the thing about that. With Maddy, she was 4 months old. She doesn't remember a lick of it. Yeah. And we talk about it and share it with her. It was hard for us to watch her go through it. I can't imagine if my kid not only beat it once, but then when you think life is normal, all of a sudden you got to do it again. And now you have a teenager getting ready to go through it and having to talk. I mean, we know teenagers can be a little moody anyway, and they talk about this in the story. Just, dealing with that teenage life and battling cancer all at the same time. Very hard, obviously. So
yeah, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds in terms of the medical stuff, but a bone marrow transplant for a baby that's not something everybody does, and Riley doesn't do it all the time.
Right.
So what were the concerns that you and your wife had at that point?
Just the process of it, because it's very overwhelming, and also anticlimactic all at the same time. Because when you hear the word transplant, you automatically think something is being exchanged, whatever, and it is, but it's really just a blood infusion is what it equals out to be. So they bring in a bag of bone marrow and hook it up to your kid, and then you sit there for 6 hours while it slowly drips. But then it's the complications after that were most concerning. Kidney problems, things of that nature that we just kind of had to work through.
And is she taking immunosuppressive drugs?
Not now.
Not now.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
the amazing thing is she's good. I mean, and even with basic flu and stuff like that, we're always the ones getting sick. She's got a healthier immune system than all of us, which is wild to think about. But that's the insane thing about science and the work that they're doing there is it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And they talk about that too. That my favorite part of the whole series is part 5, because we're talking with the doctors about what they go through. Because as parents, we get to leave at the end of the day.
Right.
They don't. And the unfortunate thing is kids don't always walk out of that hospital, right? And how do you deal with that and still come back to work the next day being close with someone who doesn't get to go home? And them sharing that was a very big aspect of what I wanted to do in this piece, was get that inside part of this right. And they were all so great at talking about it. So.
Well, it's a great series of reports. It shines a light on a great resource that we have here in Indianapolis. Tell me how we search for it if we want to find it.
Best part is wishtv.com, and there's an all Indiana access tab. You just go inside Indiana, you'll see it there, and it's all listed. Every part of them. You can watch them right in a row. So
he is Cody Adams. He got to do a project that he really wanted to do, and I encourage everybody to check it out. Thank you, Cody.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it.
This is George Mallet. Thanks so much for joining me for Behind the Eight. Be sure to follow us and search for Behind the Eight on Facebook. And you can subscribe to this podcast and all the others produced by Wish TV 8 on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network. This is Behind the Eight Podcast with Wish TV's George Mallet. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And connect for even more on Facebook and at wishtv.com.